Hey everybody, John Van Dyke here for New Jersey Exposed. Today is Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. Time is 3:24 p.m. Yes, Jersey time. Unfortunately, I'm still here in New Jersey. Okay, so I received a message from a ranking officer from a police department here in Monmouth County, and I'm going to read part of it as to what he said. It has to do with things that I say. He says, "Hey John, as you know, I don't agree with a lot of what you say about our profession, especially the part about police officers are not there to protect the public, that we are only there to enforce laws. Even if you truly believe that, you must at least believe in the exception to the rule." And then he said, "John, I would like you to see you do a video about this hero, off-duty officer who risked his life to protect a citizen." Okay, so let me just address this. And I know who this officer is. I have respect for him. And him and I have conversations, and I don't always agree with what he says, and he doesn't always agree with what I say. But we do agree one thing: we respect each other's opinion, and we try to find that happy meeting point. You know, one of the things I want to convey to everybody is that you have to listen to the other side of the story, so that we can continually update our brains and adjust our opinions about things as we learn. So, now many of you know that I always say the job of police is to enforce laws. More specifically, it's to enforce laws, investigate crimes, make arrests, gather evidence, and assist the prosecution. That really is the job of the police. Now, I always add in the other extra stuff, which is their job is to go out there and generate revenue for the town. And if you don't believe me, go look at your town's budget and go in there where the revenue part section is, where the town takes in money, and there's a line item in there, at least in New Jersey and the towns around here. There's a line item there called Anticipated Court Fines Revenue. And each year that line item is based on how much they produced the year before. So I'll give an example. Homedale Police, they had $525,000 anticipated court fines revenue for the year of 2019, I believe. It was pre-COVID. And I looked to see how much they took in the year before that, and it was like $533,000, if I'm correct. So if it goes up each year, they kind of creep up that money that they anticipate. It's included in the budget, and if they don't take in that $500,000, that causes a shortfall. That means they don't have $500,000, and $500,000 is a lot of money for any town, any regular town, to fall short on. And that causes a problem. Now, and unfairly, I must say, it does put a burden on the police to have to go out there and generate revenue to bring that money in. So it creates, I don't know what the word, I don't want to say hanky-panky, but, it creates a dubious reason for why they're doing what they're doing. I always said, take the money out of traffic tickets. Why am I paying the state why does the state get the profit off of my bad behavior? It's bad enough they're stealing my money, then the car insurance comes back and clobbers me. So really, the liability's with me and the insurance company, not me and the state. So that is the problem that gets created. So police are out there, they have to generate revenue, and the real small towns, that revenue is, they need it badly. Now, as far as what I say about how they protect the government and they enforce laws, and he takes exception to that, and I want to say this. It was a conversation I saw, I think it was Johnny 5-0. He talked about his relationship with his father, and one of the things he said there was, what is both sides of the table's role in this? Okay, so I point out all the negative things. That's my job, to point out the negative things. Unfortunately, the negative things is what hurts people. It's not that I'm such a negative guy, but sometimes I can be. I inherit it. but it's the negative things that police do that hurts citizens and costs us money. So thus, I have to keep putting that out there to pound into people's brains that, look, this is what's going on and it needs to change. We need to have a conversation about it. I just put a video up right before this video about I had about a month's worth of police that were in the news. It's crap that they did. They're hurting people. They got arrested. They got suspended. They cost the towns money. Right here by me, Middletown Township police officer cost the taxpayers $613,000. $113 of that's coming right out of the town's budget. The rest is coming out of their insurance. But we still pay the insurance premiums, and a lot of towns around here pool their money together, our money. They put it in a pool so that when one of the towns gets sued, they pull that money out of there to help pay off the lawsuit. And I didn't do anything for a month because, quite frankly, there was just so many stories. I can't be bothered anymore doing a Blue Zero Hero video about every cop that screws up, because there's just so many of them that takes place almost on a daily. I go there and I take my phone, this phone right here, people, and I always Google police officer arrested, police officer charged, police officer indicted, police officer sentenced, whatever, and then it comes up, and then I save these stories. Now, if it happens to be something of something very bad, if I feel it's interest to everybody, then I'll do the video on it, because I do know you people out there are becoming numb to all the stories. So I don't know how many of those titles, those headlines I posted. It had to be about, 20 of them or something, maybe more, I don't know. Some of them, I didn't even get all of them in there, because when I went to get the article, it told me I had to subscribe. So it's not even it's just most of what I gathered, and I haven't Googled it in a couple days to get more, but I put that up there just so you could see and everybody could see. And if you're one of your bootlickers out there, Blue Line supporter, gang member supporters, throw something in your face, you just give them that link and they can see all the stuff. So that being said, what Johnny 5-0 was talking about, he says, what is each side of the role in this? So I'm pointing out all of the bad stuff that goes on out there. Unfortunately, I don't get to see all the good stuff because it doesn't make the newspaper, so I don't know, and no police department contacts me to tell me about the good things. This one particular officer does bring things to my attention, and I appreciate it, because I like to put the good stuff out there. Unfortunately, it just not much comes my way. So what I'm trying to get at is, I wonder, or put this to the officer that sent that to me, at what point do police sit down and ask themselves, what role are we playing in all this negativity that they're getting? Because right now, my opinion in the situation is that they're in denial. They don't want to accept it. And you get somebody like that sergeant, or that, whatever he was, that officer Dingle, who got in there and said, not all of us officers are bad, most of us are good. Well, that's fine, and that's probably true. I don't think all officers are bad out there, but unfortunately, it's the bad ones that hurt us. And it's the bad ones that cost us money. And I want law enforcement to just own it. Own it and say, you know what? We got a big problem going on, and we need to address it. We need to fix this problem. We need to weed out the bad cops. Instead, they don't do this. What they do is they like the other day, I saw one of the police departments, I forget what it was, South River or something like that. One of the towns, there were some people out there selling hot chocolate. There was kids involved. It's always kids. So they stop and they buy a cup of hot coffee and they get their picture taken. Over the summer, it was kids selling lemonade. Christmas time, it was all about gathering the Christmas present and taking to the kids who don't have anything. So this is their way of combating or fighting back, and is exploiting kids, manipulating kids, exploiting kids to promote their image, the police community's image. And I look at that and I know that's all bullshit because, yeah, these little kids, they don't know any better. They say, oh, yeah, look at a police officer. You know, I used to think the same way, too. I'd see a police officer, I'd go like that. When I was a little kid, I'd see him going down the road, and I'd go like that to him, and he'd wave to me. But as you get older and you get wiser and smarter, you start to see, well, that's not real life. That's just not how it is. So they're trying to manipulate the children to bolster their image, but really the people they should be focusing on is the adults, the people that know better. They should be looking at themselves and saying, what can we do to fix this problem? And I just did a video about a good cop who's trying to do something good by stopping a police sergeant. And that police sergeant turned around and grabbed her by the throat. And this is a good example of the problem that's going on in law enforcement, that good cops are being punished and they're being pushed out of their jobs. I could ramble off a couple examples of how these things that have happened. You got Seagirt happened down there. You had a former chief of police, Davenport his name was, who was harassing a supposedly gay officer. I think he was a sergeant who dedicated himself to, he was in the Naval Reserves and stuff, and this chief was allegedly drawing pictures of men's private parts and putting it on his locker and on his license plate. And when another officer came to his aid to help him to stand up for this officer, what happens? So both of them get forced out of the job, and it ends up costing the taxpayers something like $1.1 million because they had to pay these officers back, and then you got what do you call that? So they end up getting extra money for the inconvenience and everything, and you get another officer who was over in Mattawa. There was an officer trying to do the right thing, and he got forced out. It's like, the stories are endless. There are endless stories out there of good officers trying to do the right thing, and they get forced out. And there's nothing in the law enforcement. I look for it all the time. I never find anything, absolutely nothing. And when an officer screws up, I'll give an example. Aberdeen Township Police, they had an officer over there. He started out as a dispatcher. They finally let him go to the police academy, and they put him in he graduates. He makes the commencement speech at the graduation. They put him as an officer, and they sent him to go get a drug test because probably they suspected he's doing, I'm just alleging, steroids or something like that. That's their big go-to one, steroids. So he tampers with the tests, and then him and another officer are out there arresting somebody, and that person records it with a phone, and then this officer, his name was Santiago, goes and deletes the evidence off the thing. There wasn't one mention of that on Aberdeen Township's Facebook page. And when I went on there and I mentioned it, I got attacked. I got attacked by other people. Oh, it's in the news. Why they got to put it on there? Why not put it on there? They own it. Acknowledge it. Why does the chief come on there and say, you know what, we suspended him without pay. This is not how we operate. We don't condone this. We won't condone this. And a message to all police officers in our department, if you do anything like this, you will suffer the consequences. But you never hear it. It's only maybe once in a while when they got 100 cameras in front of them, they get up there and they give the old disclaimer. But you never find out what happens. And when I ask, say, Aberdeen, hey, what's going on? They don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it. You take Howell Township Police Department. They had that Sergeant Richard Conti over there. Mr. I want to hook up with a 15-year-old girl and lay naked with her. And he gets caught with condoms. This is going on over 2 years, or close to over 2 years now. And when I ask, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody. They don't want, it's like the minute a cop gets in trouble, they keep it quiet. Mum's the word. Mum's the word. Don't talk about it. Nobody, just let it go. Just let it disappear. And that's how they handle things. And when I asked somebody who lived in Aberdeen, I said, hey, do you know one of your officers over there got suspended without pay for screwing with a drug test and deleting destroying evidence? No, I didn't know anything about it. And then when I mentioned about all the other things when I talked to Daryl, I didn't know anything about it. See, that's the problem. The problem is most people just don't know anything about it. And when I talk about it, I'm told I hate police. I don't hate police. Any officer who's ever met me knows that I've always been nice to them. I've been cordial. I've been polite. I have conversations with them. I've had conversations with many officers. I've had conversations with state police. I've had conversations with many different police officers over the course of the 5 years or so that I've been doing this. And I've been nice to every one of them. I even had one come to my job one day, and he goes, "Hey, Gunner Sin." I go, "Oh, you know who I am?" I says, "Yeah, I know who you are. I see your channel." I go, "Yeah, what do you think?" "Oh, I don't agree with everything you say." And that was it. He was like, he wasn't very nice. I don't find him to be, I don't think he was very nice. I've had other officers, you can tell they're officers, they attack me on Facebook. "Oh, you know, we shouldn't be sending any business to where you work at, blah, blah, blah." It's taboo to talk about the bad crap that law enforcement is doing. And I've been documented a gazillion times saying it's time for you good cops to rise up and start doing something about it. Yeah, a couple of you out there are probably going to suffer the consequences, but that's just the way it is. You good cops out there got to band together and do the right thing and clean up the act. So, but they're not going to do it because they're all afraid. And I know one thing for sure, what police do protect. They protect their pension. That for sure they do. They will protect their pension, and they will protect other officers until their pension is on the line. When it comes to that, they'll throw another officer right under the bus. So anyway, getting back to the topic is that, you know, he's saying that I think cops are not heroes, or, you know, they're not out there protecting us. And I've said that enforcing laws, the byproduct of enforcing laws is it protects people. So if something happens to you, somebody's beating you up and a cop jumps out of the car and pulls the guy off and puts the handcuffs on him, he didn't protect you. He was enforcing a law, because obviously beating somebody up without their permission is breaking a law. Now, as far as the protecting, you know, was that officer being an officer, or was he just being a human? I've always said that when a cop behaves like a human, it's always a good outcome. When a human behaves like a cop, it's not a good outcome. And the question is, how many other people out there would do the same thing? I've seen people that needed help, and I got out and helped them. I did it as my obligation, you know, a human being. I see a human being in trouble, I help them. I don't say, "Oh, screw that." If I can render help to somebody who needs help, I would do it, because I would appreciate and expect somebody to do that for me if I was in a bad situation. So, you know, that officer he's talking about in the story, which I'll do on another video, so you have to sit through all that. Yeah, he was risking his life. The car was being jacked, and he did whatever he did to intervene, you know. But you gotta ask yourself, you know, he has extra things that you and I as a person don't have. We don't have a gun. We don't have that training as to when we can use that gun and when we can't use that gun. So is that fair to say that because he did that, I didn't do that, or somebody else didn't do it? Well, if I saw something really going down really bad and I had a gun and I was able to use it lawfully, I would use it. I would do what I need to do. I mean, I know there are people out there who may not necessarily do that. They just look the other way, but that's them, not me. I'm the kind of person, I see something, I do something. I'm not, that's just the way it is. So to say that all police, I'm going to finish up the video because I know it's getting lengthy here. I think most police officers, most kids, young guys, sign up for the job. And I'm going to say not the big guys. The big guys is a different category, and I don't want to get into that in this video. But I want to say, generally speaking, most sign up for it unless they were not in the family. You know, they're just somebody says, "Hey, I want to get in law enforcement." That I think, generally speaking, they do want to go out and they want to do the right thing and they want to help the people. Unfortunately, the law enforcement community really puts a damper on that, in my opinion. It's I think most of these officers, after a couple of years, they hate their jobs because they're dealing with people in society that probably most of us don't want to deal with these people. And I know who these people are because I've had to deal with them myself in my community. So they get, what is the word? Jaded is the word. So they start to hate the jobs, and the only other reason to get into law enforcement, they stay in law enforcement as much as they hate it, they stay because they're getting paid well. And I give an example. I think it was Avon Police was advertising they need police. Apparently nobody's applying to be a police officer anymore because these towns are really just trying to promote it. And Avon put on there, it says, starting pay is $61,000 plus benefits. And for a $61,000 to be a police officer in Avon, which is a very lily white, well-to-do community by the water, that's pretty good pay. And after about 5 years, you're up to six figures, making $100,000 a year. And you work for, say you get hired as a cop at the age of, you get out of college at 22, 23. So say you get hired at the age of 25 and you put 25 years in and you're 50 and then you get your pension and then you go and you take another six-figure job, work for the county. So from a money point of view, it's a very good field to go into because you're paid well, you don't work very hard, yeah, you got to put up with some crap, once in a while you got to get physical with somebody, and yeah, somebody might shoot a gun at you, but I want to say this. Every day that all of us get in our car, we risk our lives. Every time we walk down the street, the possibility of being killed, hit by a car, tree falling on your head, some asshole trying to rob you, it's always there. And there are risks in all professions. And as we all know, police are not in the top 10 of the most dangerous jobs. I think taxi cab drivers driving around at night in the city is probably one of the most dangerous jobs out there. There are a lot of hazards to every job, and I will say this, that they signed up and they volunteered for it, and so I don't feel sorry for them. And as far as getting back to the thing, as far as protecting, I want to say, I stand by what I say, that they're not there to protect us. They're there to do a job, and their job is to enforce laws. Their job is to generate revenue for the town. And their job, really, the only thing, in my opinion, that they're protecting is the government and government enforcing government rule. And if, again, I tell everybody, just look back at what happened with the pandemic when the governor here in New Jersey put all these lockdowns where you couldn't you couldn't drive, you couldn't go out between these hours, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. You had that guy over in Rumson who was trying to play Pink Floyd on his front doorstep with his friend, and some people came out and were standing there watching, and then Rumson came along and arrested the guy. So you get my point? My point is that they enforce laws. And they protect the government. And the government says, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. We're going to... And they have no problem enforcing laws that trample over your rights. And what happened to that guy in Rumson 2 summers ago, whenever it was, is a perfect example. That man had every right to sit on his front doorstep and play his guitar and play Pink Floyd. And the neighbors that came down the street to watch it, they have every right in the world to assemble. It's guaranteed in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And these cops came along, and instead of saying, you know what, we're not going to do this, we're not going to trample on these people's rights, they didn't do that. They just said, you know what, we got to follow orders. So they're order followers. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion of the matter. And finally, and I'm going to leave you with this, and this is to that officer that sent me that message. It's what role do you play? What role you as a police officer in the policing community play in all this that causes people like me and gazillion others to get up there and talk about it and speak out about it? What is your role in that? What are you doing to stop it? That is my question. What are you doing to stop the nonsense, the problems that are going on in law enforcement that we see every day on social media? because social media is is creating all this. It's educating everybody. Everybody sees it. There's cameras everywhere. There's no more lying saying, oh, he resisted, he did this, he did that. The cameras are out there. The body cams are exposing all the bad behavior, and I'm going to leave you that.